Chapter 460 and 461. As the seal on Ryumyaku gourd was released, Ryumyaku's dense chakra suddenly rushed into Yama's body. Instantly, the amount of chakra in his body recovered as well as increased. At this moment, Yama also carefully analyzed the phantom dragon still trying to rip the soul out of his body, although it certainly wasn't being successful at doing so, that's for sure. Is it some kind of Fuin jutsu that seals chakra? It didn't take much for Yama to analyze this jutsu. It certainly was some kind of Fuin jutsu that sealed, or absorbed, or extracted chakra out of the target's body. At the same time, it also rips their soul. When he thought about this, Yama suddenly remembered a jutsu that seemed all too similar, or perhaps exactly the same, Fuin jutsu, Genryukyu Fujin. Sealing jutsu, 9 phantom dragons. The same jutsu that the members of the Akatsuki organization used to extract bijou out of their jinchuriki and seal inside the Gedo Mazo. No wonder why this jutsu is still trying to take effect. After all, it's a jutsu of Jubi, and can literally extract bijou out of a jinchuriki and seal it within Gedo Mazo despite all the resistance of a bijou or jinchuriki, so it is obvious that it wouldn't give up so easily. With that understood, Yama started weaving hand signs, tapped his own chest, and muttered, Yura Shursho Fuin. Reverse trigram sealing jutsu / reverse 4-symbol sealing. That jutsu! I have to back off now. Nagato thought and instantly retreated backward to get out of the range of the chakra bubble. He was being repeatedly shocked after witnessing things happening before him. He has never encountered anyone who can resist this jutsu of Gedo Mazo. No matter which enemy, in the face of Fuin jutsu, Genryukyu Fujin, as long as they are touched, they all certainly died. There was none who could put any resistance. And this mysterious leader of Amatsukami is not only putting up resistance, but in fact, he also seems to be completely unaffected by this jutsu. And not only that, he is even able to control his chakra to use an S-class Fuin jutsu. This is nothing short of incredible, even in Nagato's view. Even he can't guarantee if he will be able to do so should he be facing such a situation. Instantly, a Saiyan chakra gushed out of Yama and soon formed a Saiyan bubble around him. The phantom dragon too was inside the Saiyan chakra bubble. Yura Shursho Fuin is an S-class Fuin jutsu capable of sealing everything within the chakra bubble inside the caster. It is the same jutsu that Shimura Danzo used to try to seal Uchiha Sasuke inside him upon his own death. And Yama is using the same jutsu here. The difference is just that instead of sealing somebody, he is sealing the dragon-shaped chakra phantom inside him. With the dragon sealed inside him, Gedo Mazo's jutsu of trying to seal his chakra and attempt of ripping out his soul would not work any longer. As for the difference in the color of the chakra bubble from being black to cyan, well, it's because the Saiyan chakra of Tenseigan chakra mode is wrapped around Yama, and it is the same chakra that was used in forming the bubble. The chakra bubble then instantly expanded with Yama as the center, and started sucking the dragon-shaped phantom inside Yama. A tug of war between Yama and Gedo's statue broke out, and the balance was obviously shifted towards Yama. With the absorption of dragon-shaped phantom, its effect on Yama started to disappear. Seeing this, Nagato's face distorted in anger. He was more angered at the fact that the enemy was absorbing his jutsu, and he shouted, Mortal, do you think that you can defeat the god? I will make you understand that in the face of my absolute power, all beings are beneath me, all jutsu is meaningless, and any resistance is futile. With his roar, he weaved the hand signs, tiger, snake, rat, ox, dog, ram, Fuin jutsu, Genryukyu Fujin. Sealing jutsu, 9 phantom dragons. Coupled with his shout, the ripple pattern in his eyes glowed and rippled. It felt as if they were suddenly alive, and Rinnegan suddenly emitted extraordinary levels of ocular power. With Nagato's shout, Gedo Mazo roared again, and it seemed to be resonating with the changes in Nagato's Rinnegan. Instantly the power Gedo Mazo was applying increased several times. At the same time, the number of phantoms also increased from 1 to 9, and all the 9 phantoms pounced at Yama from all directions, tilting the tug of war in the favor of Nagato. But Yama wasn't panicked. He snickered at Nagato, calling him God. God? Yeah, right, as if. But let's say I believe you. So, if you are a god, what happens when this little ol' me, a mortal, in your words, kills this high and mighty god? Do I become a god, or do you become something beneath that of a mortal? As Yama spoke this, his Tenseigan also bloomed in a more brilliant light than ever. And the very next moment, all the 9 phantom dragons were being sucked inside Yama. Despite the power that Nagato was putting, it seemed as if the balance would tilt in Yama's favor and all the dragon phantoms would be sealed inside him by Yama. Nagato roared, Do not mock me! And he increased the chakra input more, and more, so much so that blood started to flow out of his nose. The result was evident. Rinnegan's power input increased, and for a moment it seemed that Yama's soul will tear apart. How could Yama allow such a thing to happen? He too gritted his teeth and used more and more Ryumyaku chakra. He felt a bit uncomfortable with letting so much natural energy collect inside him, but it did not matter right now. All that matters right now is killing Nagato. The result was also evident. The glow of Tenseigan increased more and more, and it seemed as if all the dragon-shaped phantoms would be sucked inside Yama. The battle of ocular power between Yama and Nagato also affected the surroundings. So much chakra was being used here that it started to become substantial. Natural energy seemed to be affected and started gathering around Yama as well as Gedo Mazo and Nagato. The small pieces of stones and shards of glass started to defy gravity. They were lifted off the surface and hovered in the air. Both Nagato and Yama were shocked to realize that the ocular power of the other party's dojutsu was much more superior than they had previously expected. But the situation was at a stalemate, so neither of them dared to back off rashly. Because at this level of confrontation, even a little bit of mistake would mean certain death. While in the stalemate, Nagato stared at opposite Yama with a storm brewing in his heart. Nagato has always believed that Rinnegan is the most superior dojutsu, whether it is Uchiha's Sharingan or Hyuga's Byakugan, both of them fade in comparison to the Rinnegan. The legends of Rakudo Sennin are proof of this fact, and Rinnegan is not called the greatest of the three great dojutsu just for nothing, you know. And it is for this reason, he has also come to believe that he was born with the Rinnegan to change this war-littled shinobi world, to fulfill Yahiko's dream. And ever since he has awakened these dojutsu in the truest sense, they have never disappointed him. Whether it was Kakazu or the great snake Sannin Orochimaru or Hanzo or anyone else for that matter, each one lost against him. All of them are nothing more than ants he could easily trample upon. And yet, today, at this moment, Nagato seemed to have realized that's not the case. There is still someone left. While continuing his battle, Yama also thought about a few things that have always confused him before. He has always wondered why Nagato, with his Uzumaki descent, with Geto Mazo at his side, with so many abilities of the Rinnegan, and finally with so many kenjutsu that the members of the Akatsuki organization have known is still attached to the mechanical walker? Were the injuries he suffered so serious that he permanently lost his mobility? Not really. Neither was the injury so severe, nor was there no solution. After all, the main reason why he lost his mobility was because of the exposing tags that Hanzo used, and the secondary reason was that Geto Mazo sucked his vitality. It's understandable if Geto Mazo sucked his vitality, but it's not as if it would have always sucked away Nagato's vitality, right? At the first attempt, or perhaps at the second attempt, but always? Obviously not. After all, Obito could use Geto Mazo perfectly, and he had only one Rinnegan. Meanwhile, Nagato has both, so he should be able to better control Geto Mazo. Nagato should have healed, especially considering the fact just how rich the vitality of Geto Mazo is, and yet he did not. Yama can only think of two possible reasons. First is probably Nagato's lack of desire to walk anymore. Perhaps he stopped caring what happens to him after Yahiko's death. In his view, the moment Yahiko died, he too died, and all that was left was pain. And for the second reason, it's probably the need. Nagato probably never felt the need to walk anymore. Nobody could match Pain Rakudo in combat, so there was no need to bother with pointless things. Cough cough, puke. As the confrontation continued, Nagato was the first one to back down. He may not have willed it, but his body couldn't support it. Just as the moment Nagato puked blood, Yama's jutsu took full control over the tug-of-war and instantly absorbed all the 9 phantom dragons within him. Yama breathed a sigh of relief. Finally! Huff huff, cough cough, do not think huff that I have lost. Nagato muttered between his heavy breaths. Yama also understands that Nagato is far from being defeated. Geto Mazo is still standing. It hasn't disappeared yet. Bring it on. I am also just getting started. On Jiraiya and the other side, Pain Rakudo, who was buried in the ruins, suddenly regained consciousness. Shinra Tensei. Tendo Pain used this jutsu to remove all the debris covering them. Boom! With an explosive sound, all the debris and rocks that buried Pain Rakudo were sent flying far away by the repulsive force of Shinra Tensei. Some distance away, whether it was Jiraiya and Team 11, or the remnants of Kumo unit, or Uchiha Shinichi and Biwa Juzo, everyone noticed the sudden revival of Pain Rakudo. Kakashi muttered with a solemn expression. They are active again? Jiraiya frowned. What does Nagato intend to do with these puppets now? Toad Fukasaku said, whatever it is, be careful, Jiraiya boy. Shursui also frowned. Since a while ago, that giant wooden statue and golden sword have been clashing with each other. But why have these puppets started to act again? Could it be that something has gone wrong on Kuroto-san's side? Jiraiya said to the others, we must first deal with these puppets and then figure out the rest of the situation. Jiraiya was still in his imperfect Sennin mode and was ready to deal with those puppets this time for sure. Similar was the case with the rest of Team 11. But it appears that Pain Rakudo were not so much interested in dealing with Jiraiya and the others for now. They all looked in the direction of Geto Mazo, then disappeared. Poof, 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 poof. Being completely ignored by Pain Rakudo, Jiraiya, who was already in his fighting stance, suddenly awkward expression. Well that's... On Yama's side.
Cuchillo no Yatsu.
Poof, 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 poof. With a surge of white smoke, one after another, 7 figures appeared before Nagato. Yama muttered with a frown. Did he even summon her? In addition to Pain Rakudo, Nagato even summoned Jinchuriki of Nibi, Niyujito. Was Yama panicked? Not really. He wasn't panicked in the slightest. At this time, the sleeves of Pain Rakudo shook slightly and black receivers slid down to everyone's hands. The very next instant, Pain Rakudo took on their formation and rushed towards Yama. On the other hand, Niyujito, who was in a semi-liberated state, turned around and rushed towards Nagato. Meanwhile, Gedo Mazo also started another assault at Yama. Yama thought, does he intends to have her protect himself? Or could it be that he has finally decided to? Although he has already guessed Nagato's purpose, he did not have enough opportunity to stop Ni Yujito. While Yama parried the heavy punches of Gedo Mazo, Gakido Pain flickered behind him to impale him with black receivers as well as absorb Yama's chakra. Yama instantly controlled one of the 5 Gudadama to destroy Gakido Pain.
Cuchillo no Yatsu.
Poof. But the moment Gudadama was about to rip apart the puppet, Tendo Pain appeared before Gakido Pain with a poof of white smoke and stopped Gudadama with a repulsive barrier. Nagato isn't perfectly aware of what exactly those black things are, but he can feel that those black things floating around Yama are dangerous, and he is not about to let them destroy Pain Rakuto with those black orbs. Yama perceived that it wouldn't be possible to destroy Gakido Pain because of Tendo Pain, so instead of destroying it, he transformed that very Gudadama to make an arched shield behind his back in order to resist the absorption of his chakra by Gakido Pain as well as other attacks from Gakido and Tendo. They can change their shape too? Nagato thought as he started to absorb Nibi's chakra. Immediately afterward, another Gudadama transformed into a long sphere and rushed towards Ninjendo Pain.
Cuchillo no Yatsu.
Poof. But before it could destroy Ninjendo Pain disappeared into a poof of smoke and appeared at another place. Damn. Chikashodo Pain, Animal Path, is being a real pain now. I will have to find a way to destroy that one first. Yama thought in irritation. The moment Yama is about to destroy any one of the Rakuto Pain, it is either summoned away by Chikashodo Pain, Animal Path, or Chikashodo Pain, Animal Path, have Tendo Pain interfere, which has started to get annoying now. Not to mention, Nagato is stalling Yama with Gedo Mazo and Pain Rakuto and using this opportunity to absorb chakra from Nibi, which means Nagato now plans to stand up, and this is really not good. Let's see. Chikashodo Pain, Animal Path, can summon itself as well as summon other pains. It should only be capable of doing one thing at once. Either it can summon itself or summon another pain somewhere. Moreover, if I look at the positions of all the pain, Tendo and Gakido are standing behind me, while Chikashodo, Animal Path, Ninjendo, Human Path, Shirado, Azura Path, are surrounding me. And Jigakudo Pain is standing behind. Jigakudo is too far from the range, and I highly doubt that Nagato would send it closer to me. Now, if I make an attack with a large area coverage, then it should be possible to destroy at least 4 of the 6 pain, leaving Tendo and Jigakudo. And I know the perfect attack that would work here. Alright, let's do this. With this thought in mind, Yama proceeded for the next move. He gathered the remaining 5 Gudadama over the palm of his free hand, then merged 2 Gudadama forming a larger Gudadama, and have the other 3 Gudadama revolve around the first. Next, he started injecting Tenseigan chakra into the planetary system, 1 larger Gudadama, and 3 smaller ones revolving around the larger one, making it look very similar to planetary Rasengan. When Tenseigan chakra flowed into the planetary system, the color of each Gudadama changed into azure, and they also inflated. The central one inflated to the size of a Kudama Rasengan, while the other 3 inflated to the size of Odama Rasengan. All this while, his battle with Gedo Mazo and other pain did not stop. Shirado Pain kept a direct assault of firing missiles after missiles at him, which were dodged rather easily. Sometimes a Kagebushin or 2 will also support Yama in the battle when the other 5 pain start a taijutsu battle with him. Overall, Yama seems to be in a predicament as Nagato did not leave anything behind to hold of Yama. Finally, the move he was preparing for was ready, and Yama launched this without any hesitation. Azure Wheel Reincarnation Explosion. Translator's note, since Azure Wheel Reincarnation Explosion is not a jutsu from canon, and I'm not really any knowledgeable of Japanese, so well, I am unable to write it in Japanese. As soon as the jutsu was launched by Yama, it further expanded several times, its range reaching up to several meters, so much so that Yama himself seems to have come under the effect of the jutsu, but he did not care and let the jutsu expand. This would be the end of Gakido, Shirado, Ninjendo, and Chikashodo. As Yama spoke so, the golden sword disappeared. Meanwhile, each individual orb continued to expand and instantly engulfed the 5 pain. Inside the massive and turbulent wave-like vortex, Tendo tried to resist with a repulsive barrier, but soon found out that the chakra pressure is too chaotic for him to resist this with a repulsive barrier. Not good. This jutsu contains too much chakra. If Tendo remains in the range, then it would definitely be damaged. Looks like I have no other option but to save Tendo while discarding the other 4. Sigh, I will have them recovered with Jigakudo, Nagato thought and continued.
Cuchillo no Yatsu.
Poof. The moment, Nagato summoned Tendo Pain, and then controlled Gedo Mazo to protect them from an offset effect of the jutsu. By now, the already chaotic planetary system became more turbulent and soon caused an extremely large explosion. Boom! The explosion was so large that the altitude it covered stretched up to several hundred meters up in the sky and quite deep into the ground as well. But strangely enough, the radius of the explosion was not too large and only stretched up to the radius of only about 100 meters or so. The explosion did not escape the eyes of anyone, whether it was Jiraiya and the others rushing here, or Homasubi and Konan in their aerial fight, or at the 3 battlefields on the outskirts of Amigakure. Damn it! Just what kind of monsters are fighting there? Oi, isn't this a bit too exaggerated? Is this even a battle between shinobi? Jiraiya and the others would have literally been blown away by the resulting air pressure if Shursui hadn't protected them with his Susanoo. Same was the case with Shinichi and Juzo, who were protected by Shinichi's Susanoo. Each one saw the explosion and was shocked by the effect. A little while later, the dust cleared. The first thing that caught Nagato's eyes was a large black sphere suspended in the midair. Then he saw 4 mutilate corpses. At this time, the black sphere suspended in the air opened to reveal Yama, who was completely unscathed, and those 9 black orbs were again circling behind him. Nagato himself had absorbed enough of Nibi's chakra so that he no longer needed to rely on the mechanical walker and was now standing on his own 2 feet. Yama frowned. Did he already recover? Then shook his head. No, he is still far from true recovery. Bansho Tenin. Nagato controlled Tendo Pain to pull the corpses of Gakido, Shirato, Ninjendo, and Chikashodo. Yama did not stop him. And while still in midair, he observed the state of Nagato, who was now standing on his own 2 feet. On the other hand, after the 4 corpses were pulled by Tendo Pain, he plunged them into King of Hell's mouth in order to resurrect them. But even after waiting for so long, nothing came out of the mouth of King of Hell, which even made Nagato extremely shocked. He broke away from the staring contest with Yama and looked at King of Hell to see what exactly was going on. Yama said with a chuckle, "It's futile. They are not going to be restored by King of Hell. If you want them back, then you will have to use other corpses to recreate them."